Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes,
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture.
Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZED Games AU.
Welcome to Zed Games. I'm your host Paul, and joining me tonight are my good friends Caroline.
Hello.
And Elliott.
Yo.
And how are you two lovely kids doing today?
Most excellent.
Fantastic.
Well, that does sound excellent.
Yes.
Have you been able to partake in any video games of late?
Ooh. Stardew Valley. Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, Master Duel, whatever. What did I play last? I had a game and I've forgotten it.
It's good.
Amazing.
It made a big impression.
Yes.
Clearly.
Oh. Yeah.
I finished Sword.
Oh, nice.
And I started playing Death Stranding again because I just love walking.
I do love me some Death Stranding.
I just love the soundtrack.
Oh,
That reminds me, I was playing Minecraft and just walking a bunch.
Oh, there you go.
you just go for a stroll in
reminded me.
Minecraft now and
Yeah,
then.
they've got frogs now.
That I don't know why that's not in the news.
Yeah.
It probably was. I'm not really tuned into the Minecraft news.
They're so fat. I love them so much.
That's amazing.
I've got a large sound system in my which is was thrown out by a school and it's repurposed to be in my garage. And Wood Kids Goliath that was on the Death Stranding director's cut.
Yeah.
Oh, that goes off real heavy.
That would slap.
That's
Very
good.
nice.
Okay, tonight though, more chat about video games. We'll have some news, and then I will be reviewing the latest We Were Here game. We Were Here Forever. So that'll be exciting.
Nice.
Then we'll be kind of doing a review, kind of not, kind of talking around some interesting games. The new re-release of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And we're just tossing in there for good measure a little bit of Frog Fractions lore. Because, I mean, if you know, you know. And if not, we might tell you to stop listening before we talk about it. But we'll work that out when we get there. For now, let's listen to some of that good old news. This week brought to us by one Zara.
Zara.
You go for it as well, Leah.
Zara.
Sweet.
Amazing.
This week in gaming news, Pride Month is here for non-Australians. During Pride Month, to celebrate our queer communities and embrace it, there are a number of events, parades and parties galore, and the gaming scene isn't any different. The Queer Games Bundle makes another appearance in 2022 on itch.io, where you can own 588 games for just $60, with all proceeds going directly to the creators of those games. Tell Me Why is free on Xbox, Riot Games, Fall Guys and Warframe are having events and added cosmetic items to show your pride and support, and many companies have made statements in support of the LGBTQIA+ communities. So don't be surprised if your favourite games are looking a bit more vibrant this month. GameStop employees have stopped. Over the weekend, the GameStop in the Gateway Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska was closed as overworked and understaffed employees walked out, putting out an explanation as to why. Attention GameStop patrons, we regret to inform you that we all quit. Our district manager has no respect for us as employees or as human beings. We have been told by a district manager that we were supposed to have had this store achieving sales quotas and running perfectly 6 months ago, which was 3 months before a lot of us even got hired. Unfortunately, despite the staff's best efforts, we are not God. The notice also pointed patrons towards other establishments for their gaming needs, stating, "Spend your money at an establishment that respects its employees." New Kojima horror game? Allegedly, early footage of a new Hideo Kojima horror game has been leaked, reportedly a title called Overdose. The footage supposedly shows Mama from Death Stranding wearing a blue dress, but the game doesn't seem to be Death Stranding 2. Hideo Kojima has expressed interest in making another horror game, stating that he has ideas that would make you defecate in your pants. Kojima Productions had signed a deal with Microsoft for an Xbox exclusive title. There's nothing solid to suggest it could be Overdose, assuming that Overdose is even a real game. It might be easier to get a PS5 soon. Sony has projected that it will sell up to 18 million sales this fiscal year, with that number based on Sony's current visibility into parts procurement. Last fiscal year, Sony sold 11.5 million PS5 consoles, and the year before that was only 7.8 million consoles. So 18 million consoles is not a small number. It remains to be seen whether Sony can achieve that 60% jump in producing consoles and selling them. And now for some upcoming games. June 9 brings Green Health VR for Steam VR, Mad Shot for the PC, Postal Brain Damage for the PC, Pro Cycling Manager 2022 for the PC, Tour de France 2022 for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4 and Xbox One. June 10th brings Mario Strikers Battle League for the Switch, The Quarry for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4 and Xbox One. June 14 brings Jurassic World Evolution 2 Dominion Biosyn expansion for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4 and Xbox One. And June 16 brings Autonauts for the PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One and Switch, Overlord Escape from Nazareth for PC and Switch, Redoubt 2 for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One and Switch, and Starship Troopers Terran Command for the PC. That's it this week in gaming news.
Thank you for that, Zara. And it's there's a lot of news going on at the moment, and a lot more news about to come, because it is we still kind of call it E3 time, despite the fact E3 does not exist. But on that, the ESA came out yesterday, I think, and said, we're definitely going to be back next year.
Oh,
so please gauge your level of laughter or belief at this point, maybe. But it doesn't really matter, because nothing's really affected by it. It's all pretty much the same as it was.
Yeah, it's just not all in one space now.
No.
Yeah. Easier to...
Sorry, Elliot, I had your mic
Space
off
it
then.
Oh, rip.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're back in. You're back in.
I was just going to say, it's just not all in one space. That's the only thing that's different.
No, I mean, even then it was been split over for years. Sony hasn't partaken for years. Nintendo started doing its directs before it closed down. Everyone's moved on to a different phone and saved them millions of dollars. So, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we had the Sony stuff last week. Actually, I'll jump on that.
Yeah, State of Play.
Yeah, State of Play.
That was exciting.
Yeah, there were a few okay things in that. It was mostly third-party stuff. The big one for me was actually, weirdly, Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Because I really haven't played Street Fighter since 2. I've dabbled. But
I like the idea. I've never been good at fighting games, though. I'll be honest. I
I've
suck.
come and go.
Oh, it's easy. You just mash a button and
That
the
never
other person
works.
gets really angry.
I just suck. Clearly,
No.
I can't button mash.
Get you into some good Soul Calibur. Get you some Maxi action. He can button mash pretty good. That's why I mained him. But yeah, it's got sort of Yakuza would probably be overstating it, but a sort of third-person, free-roaming RPG-ish style single player around it. And weirdly, the thing that I kind of liked, it's got commentary,
That's cool.
which I don't like esports. I don't care about esports. But, if someone's commentating the match I'm having, I might actually learn what I'm doing wrong or what I accidentally did that was good. And like, oh, he's talking about me doing certain things. I didn't even know I could do those certain things. Okay, that might actually be useful to me. Yeah, it's got some cool things going on. But coming up in that, so nothing's really, we had a few events today. There was like Black Voices in Gaming and stuff like that. Had a few things coming off. But it sort of mostly kicks off tonight. So if you are so inclined, at 1 a.m. there's the Upload VR showcase. 4 a.m. Summer Game Fest. That kind of is the E3 replacement. Kicks off with Jeff Keighley. Then Day of the Devs. That's the Double Fine run sort of indie thing. That's Unpacking was shown there originally and everything. Then 8 a.m. tomorrow, which I will honestly say is probably the only one of that list that most of you could even possibly consider giving a is Devolver Digital has their yearly thing at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then from then on, we've put up a calendar on Zed Games, so you can go to that. You can actually subscribe to it, so you can get the updates. I try to keep it up to date. But if you don't want to support me, because I don't actually mind, there is a website, e3recap.com. Lists all the schedules, gives you links to all the presentations, but also then separates out all the trailers for everything shown. So already there's like 3 pages worth of trailers, so probably 100 or so trailers on there. Yes, you can see everyone else getting disappointed with the new Sonic game.
Oh, yes.
What a
discourse.
What a weird tech demo that looks like. That doesn't look fun. But hopefully we're wrong. We're wrong.
For Zara's sake.
If only for Zara's sake. Now we're going to jump into me. Not literally or anything. I'm going to do a review of a video game.
Good.
Good. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, look, I have a very large mouth, but, that would be ambitious. I'm going to play the music. But when we play it live, we can do some singing if we want to. Reviews, doing them. Hey! Yeah, that's what I do sometimes. Okay, we are going to talk about We Were Here Forever by Total Mayhem Games. So We Were Here is a series of first-person co-op exclusive puzzle games that's seen multiple releases since the first game in 2016. Now with the fourth game's release, We Were Here Forever, it's time to see how far we've come. The games all star two explorers who have become trapped in Castle Rock and must find a way to escape. A key point here is that most of the time, you and your partner will be separated, and each will possess part of the solution to each puzzle, so communication is key. Whether it's telling one player a safe path to move, decipher codes, finding entertaining ways to describe symbols, they find a lot of variety in the setup. In the first two games, the players were separated for pretty much the entire run. At this point though, you'll regularly enter areas that you can explore together before you're inevitably separated again. This helps breaks up the pace and encourage a few more shenanigans with your friend. And you will want to play this with a friend. While it does have matchmaking, you would need to be pretty lucky to find a partner to randomly communicate clearly with, and you want to spend time with because the game's quite significant in length. Each title has grown over the previous. We Were Here took about an hour to complete. Now at the fourth game, you're looking at over 10. Now that's a lot of puzzling, and you'll probably take a few sessions to work through it. So if it's not clear, you'll need a microphone to play the game. It's literally impossible without one. Or maybe not literally, but you'd have to be pretty damn clever to find an alternative. In-game, both explorers hold a walkie-talkie, and it works just like one. Hold down the button to talk and release it, and you can't both talk at once, so you'll probably have to get into the habit of saying over. Or just be lame like me and use Discord. Most players do. There is charm to the more mechanical voice chat system in-game though, so I do encourage you to play with it and give it a shot, but eventually open mics just kind of win out for convenience. Also, just to be clear, the game is also not couch co-op in any way. It would kind of ruin the experience because you could see the other person's screen. So you'll need two systems and 2 copies of the game to play with a friend. You'll also need a friend, and those can be pricey if you don't have an old one lying around. Along with the game's increased length comes an increased scope, more environments for starters. The game begins in the same castle as the previous games, but you'll soon find yourself out and about, and everywhere from a snowy graveyard to a surreal world inside a music box. The presentation is also improved in each game. The world is charming and detailed, which really makes entering each new area exciting before you start running around looking for clues. The other thing that's expanded with each game is the story. There are a number of cutscenes linking different areas, with some charming animation and great voice work, and I couldn't care less. There's even a web series covering the lore. I tried to watch it. Look, I'm here for the puzzles. The presentation is fun, but when the story is going on, I'm making jokes with my friend about the guy in Professor Layton who wouldn't let me solve a murder until I helped him solve his matchstick puzzle. But if you do like lore about a corrupted king, his family, and an evil jester, it's there. If you're into that kind of thing, personally, I'm just here for the matchsticks. The puzzles are varied, but there seem to be a few puzzles a few more puzzles than I would have liked that were a little too one-sided, where one player basically was just waiting for the other one to tell them what to do. Thankfully, that was mostly me, and my friend had to wait. On the whole, the puzzles do a good job of involving both players, however. This also isn't a game about twitch skill. And while there is a timed element to some puzzles, it's more about knowing what you're doing than high technical ability. That said, both players will require decent puzzle logic skills, as each side of the puzzle is unique, so one player can't carry the other. While you can replay the games from the other player's perspective, it does lose a bit of discovery because you already understand what the other side looks like. Thankfully, my solution is simple. Wait a couple of years before doing that. Shorten or extended that time, depending on your memory. Seamless. I've gone back and played the first game from the other perspective, couldn't remember a thing. Great. When it comes to co-op puzzle games, the We Were Here series really is the cream of the crop, and what is admittedly a pretty small crop, but it is growing. Currently, We Were Here Forever is only available on PC, with a planned release on PlayStation and Xbox soon. The first 3 games, however, are available on console, and I keep mentioning them because while each game has gotten longer and upped the production value, they're all still really good. The first 3 games together take about the same length as playing the 4th game. The first game is actually free on PC, and the consoles have bundles of the first 3 games. So it's pretty affordable to do, and they go on sale pretty regularly anyway. As I said, I played the game on PC with the code provided by me in my own wallet.
That was very generous
for about
of your wallet.
$26. Yes, my good old wallet. Basically this series has become just, if one comes out, I've played the whole series with one friend, and we just go, it's coming out, we'll get it, we'll play through it, and that's Bob's your uncle. We've done that with a few other ones of recent times. There was the Operation Tango game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was. I think that was free on PS Plus for a while as well. That's where one's a spy and one's a hacker, and you do it. Those games tend to repeat content a little bit more than We Were Here. We Were Here is like, it's pretty much all areas are pretty unique, and whilst they might have like ongoing themes and symbols, like working out, because especially in each game they'll have pretty similar symbols the whole time. So you'll go like, oh, it's the, the screaming flower, the flatulent one. Yeah. Which is why sticking with the same person is good, because you can get pretty random with that stuff. But yeah, great games, and I'd like to. Yeah, forced co-op games are good, as It Takes Two sweeping awards last year
Very
proved.
clear. I think people are screaming for co-op, It's so rare to find a good co-op game these days. Especially, like, I know you said you need 2 consoles, but, like, especially games that are a single console. Like, co-op games in general are just so difficult.
Yeah, it used to be. Well, I mean, couch co-op is like my jam, but we say co-op when we just mean couch play, but the actual co-op experiences are very few and far between now. Sort of, you get things like the more communal stuff, like the Until Dawn, and then Interior series, where it's like, oh yeah, we sort of they end up working out ways of integrating people in.
Yeah,
but it's not really a true co-op thing. Actually, we were talking about Dead Space off air before.
Yeah.
Dead Space 3 actually had really good co-op, even if people didn't like the rest of it. The co-op was mwah! And now we're going to talk around 2 games. So a small disclaimer, I guess, at the top here. Both these games, Stanley Parable and Frog Fractions, are considered in many ways cult classics, and they are considered that partly because they are surprising. We will not really be going into much in the way of content of either game, but if you just like surprising things that are generally considered good, you might want to tune out for 5 minutes and just do a thing. It's not going to be crazy spoilery or anything, but we will explain sort of the history and like what the new versions add, and those have their own little surprises. So, the most recent release here is Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So, the original Stanley Parable came out in... I've got my dates written down here, actually, so I can remember. So, it was originally a mod, came out in 2011. Then that got turned into a full game in 2013. So, this is by Davey Redden, did the first mod, and then he's the main writer of it, and William Poe joined up with him to make the game. William then wanted to make Crows, and makes other games now, but this was a big hit for them.
2013. Oh, dang, I'm old.
So the concept of Stanley Parable is that you play the titular Stanley, and you're a cubicle worker, and you wake up one day, and I think I've got noises coming out of a silenced thing, so I don't know why that was. That makes me angry. Yes, you are in your office doing your drone work, and no one else is there except for the voice of the narrator talking about you and how your office is abandoned and no one is there. You then start exploring the office, and the narrator follows you, and then you will reach a turning point in the game where you approach 2 doors. The narrator says, Stanley, walk through the door on the left. At that point, it is your time to engage with what kind of relationship you will have with the narrator. Are you complicit, or are you not complicit with what's going on? It gets much, much deeper from there. This game, I'm not sure how long the original took to play, probably like 5-6 hours or so to get through everything. Quite a lot of content, and what would do, you'd reach an ending and you restart the game, and you'd find new paths and new ways to explore. So in 2018, they announced they were doing an update. Cool, they're going to bring it to consoles and everything. That'll be fun. If you notice, I said it came out recently, and it's 2022. So there was a pandemic, there was other stuff, but it wasn't in 2018. What did happen was they kept writing.
That'll do it.
And so whilst the game was completely rebuilt, they moved to Unity from Source. they then added some new content and some more new content. And the script for the additional content is longer than the original game. And
Dang.
and that brings us to the theme tying these two games together tonight, which is games that contain their own sequel. So Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, without going into any more detail about that, is also Stanley Parable 2. And you can access it quite quickly if you've played it before. The game's quite friendly. It says at the beginning, have you played Stanley before? In which case it'll deliver the content to you very clearly, very early in the game. If not, you just say no. It takes a little bit more time before it starts feeding you that. Because, it's a very, very meta experience. So you want to pace it out the right way. Frog Fractions, on the other hand, let's delve into this one.
Froggy?
I can just tell you the history of it. Frog Fractions was a browser-based Flash game. Yeah, have a little frog, and you can suck down maths that's falling from the sky. Some people only ever see that part of the game, and those people never push down. That's as spoilery as I'm going to get. So, as you can tell, other stuff happens. To the extent that they announced a sequel, and it was announced by Kickstarter. And Frog Fractions 2, depending on your opinion, is actually the ARG that was attached to the Kickstarter. Then they released a game called Frog Fractions 2, but if you go to try to buy it, you can't, because it doesn't exist. It's inside a game called Glittermitten Grove, which is an RTS about managing fairies. And you don't just open it and get the game. You have to actually play through that other game to a decent amount, understand it, to uncover how to get into this other game.
That's so wild.
You got to work for the game.
Then they released, and this is what ties it back into Stanley, Frog Fractions came to Steam, which is nice to sort of update it so it can run independently with Flash going and all that. It's free, because it's always been free. It would be, but they did have, I can't remember, I think it was either maybe $10, an Iconic Cap DLC. Sort of making fun of the Watch Dogs iconic cap.
Oh, I remember.
And, it just puts a hat on the frog. And, again, without going into it, the Iconic Cap DLC is Frog Fractions 3, or, depending on your count, Frog Fractions 5. So, this is more a PSA on how the hell you play these games. But they're great. They're just like, you can't get people interested in surprise games without telling them there's a surprise, can you?
Yeah.
Not really, no. Yeah.
Because we were talking earlier about Doki Doki Literature Club as well. It's like, what do you just play this VN? Why? It's you like teenage girls, right? No. Just do it. Just okay. We can get in there and but Doki Doki has the problem also of requiring. There's a good discussion about the use of content and trigger warnings and everything in that game, because that game has some more heavy material. While both Stanley and Frog Fractions may touch on things, Frog Fractions is far more silly. Stanley might deal with more serious things, but those are things about the nature of narrative and communication and stuff like that, not like heavy content. Yeah. They're not about real humans' personal journeys. They're meta about the art of game making and the art of storytelling. So yeah, cool. Can we say anything else without ruining anything?
I don't know that we can.
There's achievements in Stanley
there's
Parable.
achievements.
Yeah, actually, and not spoil, you want to read those achievements. In fact, when they did the Switch version, because now Stanley is on consoles as well, they had to add an achievement-style system to the Switch because it doesn't have achievements, because otherwise you couldn't do parts of the game. And also, the original demo for Stanley Parable is actually a totally different piece of content. So, more jokes.
Yeah.
Go get more jokes. Go play the demo. It's good. It still works.
Free
Last time I played it.
jokes. Get your free jokes
Free
here.
jokes here. Come get your jokes. Okay. This is Zed Games. I am Paul, and joining me, Caroline and Elliott.
Yo.
And we are here to have a brief hello before we say goodbye. We are getting excited for our Not E3. I can't believe it's not E3 in the next few days.
Yay, so exciting.
Can you sound any less excited, please?
I could.
You could.
Yay.
We've got Wholesome Direct on Sunday. Those are always great. Very wholesome.
So wholesome.
And one we were just talking about before, Xbox and Bethesda on Monday morning, or we might call it Sunday night, depending on what you consider 3 a.m. to be. I look, no.
Void time.
Caroline, I'm going to tell you, it's actually on noon on Monday.
Oh.
So just load up YouTube and watch it then. It's live. That's perfect for you.
I might actually be awake by then.
Yeah. That's the exact time. In fact, every time that I have written in the calendar, just change it to when is appropriate to you, because it's the internet. You don't have to watch things live.
This is true.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly. Everything at your fingertips all at once. And I'm hoping we do get to see something from Nintendo. The rumor is Wednesday next week, but Nintendo does what Nintendo wants.
Just Bayonetta 3. That's all I want. Please. Bayo 3.
You get what you get, and you don't get upset.
Listen, Nintendo will give us something, and we will say thank you.
I will
thank you, Mr.
bow
Nintendo.
at their feet, as I do every time Nintendo releases anything.
They just did that soccer game. And
Mario Strikers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a demo last week, and it felt fine to play, but I tried going through the tutorials, and the tutorials were so like, this tutorial is going to load in and tell you how to move. Like,
Wow.
it took so long. I'm like, I'm out
That
before I
does
even reach
sound
the end of
like Nintendo.
tutorials.
Like I've been playing video games since I was a baby.
No. Anyway, Nintendo treating us like babies.
Yep.
It's just part and parcel of doing games. Anyway, so that brings us pretty much to the end of tonight's episode. So thank you for joining us, everyone. This has been a wonderful evening. I've got to talk a lot.
You did.
And I'm sorry if I talk too much. It's a personal problem I'm working on.
You were talking about frogs. So.
I was talking about frogs and Stanley.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And playing
Froggy.
games with my friends. Well, friend. It's just singular co-op.
Just one friend.
Just the one friend. He's quite good.
That's not confusing.
Yeah, but that's the way we do it. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify.
Or follow us on social media at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.